Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our journey to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. So please take our prayers. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakru Nirjnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Mahabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Tadasi Swapadakam Vandeham Shri Guru Prabhupada Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupa Sagrata Saganam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijanasam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome everyone. So we're discussing from the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have completed the seventh chapter of the fourth canto. So far we have discussed how when Sati, she wanted to go and meet her father and her relatives because Daksha was performing a huge sacrifice. In spite of being told by Lord Shiva told her, please don't go because your father is angry and he's finding faults with me. If you go, you will also be criticized, you will not be welcomed properly. But Sati, she did not hear, she did not listen. She went and she was not welcomed. Seeing that there was no oblations being offered to Lord Shiva, she became very angry and she started condemning the whole sacrifice of Daksha. And as a result, she said that because I have heard the blasphemy of Lord Shiva, who is a supreme devotee, so therefore I can kill you, but if I kill you, people will say Lord Shiva killed Daksha through his wife. So therefore it is better that I give up my life. So saying this, Sati, she gave up her life. When this news went to Lord Shiva, he became very angry. He created a demon, a very powerful Rudra, not a demon. He created a Rudra called Veerbhadra. And Veerbhadra, he went and he destroyed the whole sacrificial arena and he killed Daksha himself and he disfigured many of the sages, Bhrigu, Bhaga, Pusha, all the devatas. They went running to Brahmaji for help. And Brahmaji said, you have committed a great offense because you have offended a great devotee, Lord Shiva, who is supremely powerful. So therefore, there is no way other than going to Lord Shiva and asking for forgiveness. So all of them, they went, and the beauty of the place of Kailash is described in the further chapter. In the sixth chapter, the beauty of the Kailash was described, and then the beauty of the Alka region where Lord Shiva was staying is described. And then Brahmaji, as he comes in, Lord Shiva gets up and he offers his respects to Brahmaji because Brahmaji is the father of Lord Shiva. So although Lord Shiva is in the exalted position, but just like Vamanadev respected Kashyapa Muni, similarly Lord Shiva respected Brahmaji. Brahmaji glorified Lord Shiva just like a Shaivite glorifies Lord Shiva as the supreme creator, maintainer of everything. And then Lord Shiva, he becomes very happy by hearing all these words from Lord Shiva, from Lord Brahma. And then he says that, okay, no problem. I did not kill Daksha because I felt offended. It was just a punishment offered to him, just like father punishes the child. I am ready to, forgive Daksha's. And he says so many things. Let Daksha's head be replaced by the head of a goat, and so many other things he said. And then ultimately, Daksha, when he came back to consciousness, he realized his mistake. He was transformed. He asked forgiveness from Lord Shiva, and then Daksha continued his sacrifice. Supreme Lord appeared, and then Supreme Lord, he gave all the benedictions to Daksha, and all the sages and rishis, everybody, they offered their beautiful prayers. And the chapter of the seventh chapter ended with the description how Sati was reborn as Parvati from Himalaya and Menaka, and she was again married to Lord Shiva. So that was the whole chapter of the fourth canto, seventh chapter. And then after that, the eighth chapter, it is described that so far Maitreya Muni had described about the lineage of Manu's daughters, but in between he starts the description of the remaining sons of Brahmaji, and there is a further descriptions which are described in this chapter. And then after that, the famous story of Dhruva Maharaj starts. So Maitreya says that there are many sons of Brahma who did not marry. It's like 4 Kumaras and Narada, Ribhu, Hamsa, Aruni, because they were all Urdhva Retasaha. Urdhva Retasa means those who have taken a vow of perpetual vow of celibacy. And Prabhupada writes an interesting purport. He says that what is the meaning of Grihastha? So home means a wife should be there. As Chanakya Pandit says, Strim vina griham shunyam. If the wife is not there, there is no use of a home. So home is not just made of 4 walls and a roof. Home means wife should be there. So therefore, even if somebody is staying in a house, a room, but if the wife is not there, that is not a griha. So the many sons of Brahmaji, they did not accept married life, householder life, they remained celibate. And then after that, Maitreya describes a lineage of adharma. So he says that Brahmaji had a son called Irreligion, and he married his own sister called Mrisha. Mrisha means falsity. So by the marriage of Mrisha and falsity, the children were Dambha and Maya. So bluffing and cheating. And Prabhupada writes, this is the beginning of the sex life between the brother and the sister. And this is the unnatural combination of sex life. This is possible only in the human society where there is irreligion. So therefore, the principles of the Sanatan Dharma, if they are not followed, then it results in all the irreligious activities, and it can degrade down even to marriage between the sisters and brothers. And then he describes the whole lineage of adharma, how from the marriage between Dambha and Maya, greed and cunningness were born, and they got married. And there is a huge elaborate explanation which can be given on these, how these, when the combination of greed and cunningness happens, then the krodh is born and envy is born. And then after that, from their marriage, Kali and Durukti comes. Kali means quarrel and Durukti means harsh speech. And wherever there is harsh speech and quarrel, the result is Mrityu or Bhaya. And when Mrityu and Bhaya combines, it creates excessive pain and hellish situations of life. So therefore, after describing, Maitreya Muni describes why he has described so many lineages of adharma. What is the purpose? He says, oh my dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. So these all things which are described by Maitreya, they are the causes of devastation. A spiritualist, a devotee should be very, very careful not to get attracted and not to get entangled in any of these things, because these are the causes of devastation. Then he says, one who hears these descriptions 3 times, he attains piety and he washes all the sinful contamination from his soul. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that the above description is called as destruction by Maitreya because it is the cause of destruction. It is called, this whole description is called as destruction by Maitreya, because these are all the causes of destruction. Any of these things, if it comes in the life of a devotee, it can destroy the person spiritually and even materially. So therefore, Maitreya Muni says, "Oh Vidura, you are not in the family of this adharma." So the description is purifying, because by hearing it, one can avoid these items. So therefore, we should know what to avoid. Then we will be able to avoid those things. So as Ishopanishad, it is described that vidyam cha avidyam cha yastud vedo bhayam saha. One should know what is vidya and what is avidya also. One should know what is knowledge, and one should know what is ignorance, what is avidya. So there are various meanings of vidya and avidya which are described. One of the meanings which is described is avidya means that knowledge which degrades one from the spiritual life. One should know what is that knowledge which degrades one from the material life, so that we can be, protected from that knowledge. We should not be so much eager to cultivate the knowledge which is degrading our spiritual consciousness. So Prabhupada writes, if a person is pious and he hears about these causes of devastation, he'll feel hatred for all these, and that will cause him advancement in a life of piety. What is piety? Piety refers to the process of cleansing the heart. So therefore, this process of piety is a very, very important. This process of cleansing of heart. Pravishta karna randrena swanambha vasaroruham dhunoti shamalam krishna salilasya yatha sharat. When sound vibration enters the ears, it can purify the heart. Just like Cheto Darpamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni. This Chetana will be very cleansed when we are taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. Dhautatma Purusha Krishna Padamulam na munchati Mukta Sarva Pariklesha Panta Swasharanam Yatha. The person who is purified of these contaminations, what is the result? How can we know that this person is a pure person? Is there a proof? Anybody had it is written pure devotee? Tag लगाता है क्या? कोई tag लगा के चलता है ना? This is a pure devotee. No. How to understand who is a pure devotee? How to understand that a person is free from all the sinful effects? Krishna Pada Moolam na munchati. He never ever leaves the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Mukta Sarva Pariklesha Panta Swasharanam Yatha. Just like the traveler, when he returns back to his home, he becomes very peaceful and sheltered. Similarly, a devotee, when he takes shelter of the holy names of the Lord and gets purified, that is a sign that he has become purified. So therefore, again and again, Bhagavatam describes when we take shelter of the holy names of the Lord, the result will be we'll get purified. One time, Srila Prabhupada was talking to a mayor of Chicago. And this mayor was telling that, crime rates are increasing, the corruption is increasing, all these murders and rape cases, they're increasing in the society. What to do, Swamiji? And you are famous for transforming so many hippies. So please help us. Prabhupada said, oh, that is not a big thing. You just allow us to distribute prasad to all this city of Chicago. And you allow us to do kirtan, and you make a rule that all the people of this Chicago city should do 1 hour kirtan every day, and then they should hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they should chant this Hare Krishna mantra, and then I guarantee you this crime rate will go down. So are you ready to do that? This mayor of Chicago, he said, personally, I have no problem, but my authorities, superiors may not agree to it. And Prabhupada said, then I cannot do anything. This is the only way to remove this inauspicious things in the society. So Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada would always say, there is only one thing which is lacking in this world, that is Krishna consciousness. So then after describing this, Maitreya Muni is now eager to describe the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu, because he is eager to describe about the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva, he was such a great devotee of the Lord that Maitreya Muni is now becoming more and more eager to tell about the famous character and the famous activities of Dhruva. So therefore he starts. He says that, O Vidura, I shall now describe before you the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu. Who are the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu? So these descendants, they were born as a part of a plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord. We discussed in the previous chapters that in every Manvantara, there are 6 personalities which come. Swayambhuva, there is Manu, then there is Manvantara Avatar, Manuputra, the Devatas, the sages, and the Indra. All these are the incarnations of Lord Hari. So Maitreya Muni says that Swayambhuva Manu had 2 sons, Priyavrat and Uttanapad. They were very, very powerful and competent to rule the entire earth planet, and they were competent enough to protect this entire Bhumandala. So these Manuputras, the sons of Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, the Priyavrat and Uttanapad, they had very beautiful, wonderful characteristics. They were born of the expansion of Lord. Who is Swayambhuva Manu? Swayambhuva Manu is the expansion of Lord. They are themselves the expansions of Lord. And they produced the expansions of Lord. So that is how they are very, very glorious. So Maitreya Muni continues the story. He says that Uttanapad, actually, he starts the description of Uttanapad first. Although Priyavrat was the elder son. But still, why Maitreya Muni starts the description of Uttanapad? Because, he wanted to describe the glorious character and activities of Dhruva Maharaj. These are the very, very pious activities, very beautiful activities which Dhruva had performed, and Maitreya Muni was attached to describing these characteristics. So therefore, although Priyavrat was the first son, he started the description from the second son. And then Prabhupada writes a very brilliant purport. He says, what are the benefits of Vaishnava Katha? There is a Vaishnava Katha and Krishna Katha. Both are equally potent. If somebody thinks, I will only hear Krishna Katha, I have nothing to do with Vaishnava Katha, he will not get advanced in Krishna consciousness. Vaishnava Katha is also equally potent to invoke the Supreme Lord's mercy in the heart. And whole Bhagavatam is full of Vaishnava Katha and Supreme Lord's Katha. Krishna Katha and Vaishnava Katha. In fact, Bhagavatam begins with Vaishnava Katha. The story about the Pandavas. How the Pandavas, Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara, he was about to be burnt. Vaishnava Katha. How Arjuna was feeling separation from Krishna. How Parikshit Maharaj, when he was he was cursed to die. What was his response? So this Vaishnava Katha is also equally potent. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, there are 4 benefits of hearing Vaishnava Katha. First, he says, from these pious activities and devotional activities of the Vaishnavas, one can learn how one can detach himself from material possessions. Because this whole life of a devotee is based on the principle, how I can become detached in consciousness. So that is why Kunti Maharani is saying, Oh my Lord, you are the property of those who are materially impoverished. Tvam akinchana gocharaha. Akinchana gochara means Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shribir Edamanam Madapama Naivarhatya Vidhatam Vai Tvam akinchana gocharaha. In this world, people are attracted by wealth, high birth, beautiful external appearance, and knowledge. But you are not achieved by all these things. You are achieved by being in a mood of, desire, no possessiveness, no material possessiveness one should have. We can possess lots of material things, but we should not be hankering for the possessions. So this is the first benefit. Secondly, he says, by hearing the actions of the devotees of the Lord, one can know how to enhance one's devotional service by severe austerities and penances. And we'll see what all austerities Dhruva Maharaj performed. The austerities which he performed at the age of 5, they are unimaginable. We cannot even think to perform these severe austerities which Dhruva Maharaj performed. Secondly, one can enhance one's faith in the God and can directly contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can directly connect and develop a connection, contact with Him. So our faith increases that, okay, these great devotees of the Lord, they are so very powerful. They have such immense faith in the Lord that whatever happened in their life, they never their faith never got destroyed. That is the whole life of, that is the whole Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is telling the stories of devotees who never got disturbed, whose faith in the Supreme Lord never even diminished for a moment. The whole life of Pandavas are full of that. Kunti Maharani is saying that so many calamities came in the life. Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Prichrata Mridhe Mridhene Kamaharathasrato Draunyastratascha Hare Bhirakshita. She's saying so many calamities come in the life of Pandavas and myself. They were about to be burned. Bhima was poisoned. Draupadi was about to be disrobed. They had to fight man-eating demons. They had to fight this whole battle of Kurukshetra. And now Parikshit was about to be killed. Then she says, please give more troubles. That is the faith of Kunti Maharani. She says, if you come, O my Lord, and if we get your darshan, we'll not have to see the darshan of this world again. So this is the third reason. One's faith becomes more and more strong. And lastly, Prabhupada writes, one can very soon be elevated to the transcendental platform of devotional service. So therefore, Maitreya Muni is very, very eager to describe the story of Dhruva. So he continues the story. He says that Uttanpad, he had two queens, Suruchi and Suniti. And Suruchi was very, very dear to Uttanpad, not Suniti. And Dhruva was the son of Suniti. One day, as Uttama, the son of Suruchi, he was sitting on the lap of his father, Uttanpad. Dhruva also comes, small boy. He comes and he also wants to sit on the lap of his father. And Uttanpad, he was very nicely taking care of the son of Suruchi, Uttama. He was patting him, he was kissing him on his head. Dhruva also tried to get on this lap, on the lap of his father. Uttanpad did not welcome him. Chakravarti Thakur writes that although the king was affectionate, equally affectionate to both Uttam and Dhruva, but because Uttanpad was inclined to Suruchi, Suruchi was his favorite queen, so he could not welcome Dhruva. In spite of his feelings, he wanted to welcome him, he wanted to embrace him, put him on the lap also. But Suruchi, she was not showing any attention, she was not showing any affirmation and approval. Okay, you can take Dhruva also. And because Uttanpad was attached to Suruchi, he could not show his affection to Dhruva. So Suruchi, when she sees that Dhruva is trying to get on the lap of his father, she becomes very envious and she was very, very proud. Garvita and Irshyamana. Irshyamana means she was very, very envious of her co-wife. And she was very, very proud because she knew that my husband loves me more. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that when wife knows that my husband is under my control, then they can take undue advantage. So therefore, Suruchi, she spoke to Dhruva. Oh child, if you want to sit on the lap of your father, actually you don't deserve to sit now. Why? Because you are not born from my womb. If you want to sit on the lap of your father, you have to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. and die and take birth from my womb. He says, Balo sibatnatmanam anyastri garbha samhritam nunam ved bhavanyasya durlabhe artha manoratha. She says, oh my child, you don't know, you are a child. You don't know that you are not born from my womb. Anya istri garbha samhritam. You are born from some other woman's garbha, womb. So therefore, your attempt to sit on the lap of your father is a failure. You are trying to fulfill a desire which is impossible to fulfill. Durlabhe arthe manoratha. So she is speaking in a very harsh tone. She's saying your desire is fruitless. Then she says, if you want to sit on the lap, you have to worship the Lord. Tapsa aradhya purusham. You worship the Supreme Lord, you die, and by His mercy, by mercy of the Supreme Lord, then you will take birth from my womb. Chakravarti Thakur writes that her talk is to show that the king that she has devotion, but she wanted to show the king that she has devotion. That's why she's saying, worship the Supreme Lord, by His mercy you'll get birth from my womb, but actually she is not a devotee. So she says you have to place yourself. You must place yourself in my womb. And then when Dhruva, he heard all these words, he became very angry. He started hissing like a snake which was struck by a stick. He started breathing very, very heavily. And when he saw that his father was silent, Uttanapad was not showing any expression. He did not even protest. He was just sitting silently there. He immediately left palace and he went to the place of his mother. And as he was walking, his limbs were trembling and he was in very, very anger. He was crying very grievously. So in this situation, he approached Suniti. So Suniti, when she saw that her son is in such a distressed state, she immediately lifted her son and she put him on her lap. And in between, what had happened? The residents of the palace, they had already informed Suniti of what had happened. And therefore, Suniti was already aggrieved. So then when Dhruva comes, now Suniti, she speaks very beautiful words. So actually, this incident was also very, very unbearable to Suniti. Sotsrijya dhairyam vilalapa shoka davagnina davalateva bala Vakyam sapatnya smarati saroja striya drisha bashpakala muvaha. So she says. So Maitrama describes the condition of Suniti. So he's saying that this Suniti, when she heard this incident, it was unbearable. Vilapa, shashoka. And she felt as if a forest fire which has burnt a leaf. So she felt like she was burning because of the grief. And then when she remembered the words which were spoken by her co-wife, she became very, very sad and her eyes were full of tears. And then in that very, very distressful situation, she started speaking. Now what she speaks is a very, very interesting. Although she is personally very, very aggrieved, but just see how she reacts. She says, Dirgham Sushanti Vrijanasya Param Apashyati Balakamaha Bala Mamangalam Tat Pureshu Masa Bhungte Jano Yat Paradukkadastat. She says, she was also breathing very heavily. Dirgham Sushanti. Dirgham Sushanti means she was also taking deep breaths. And she knew that my son, he is very, very disturbed. But she was also, she did not know how to take the son out of this distressed situation. She did not know. So not finding any remedy, because she knew that, my husband, he loves first wife is Suruchi more than me. So therefore she had no solution. So first word which she is saying to Dhruva is Ma Amangalam Tata. My dear son, don't wish anything inauspicious for others. This is a very, very wonderful, advice which Suniti is giving to Dhruva. So first of all, she wants to remove any ill feeling from the heart of Dhruva. She says, Ma Mangalam Tata. Oh my son, please do not wish anything inauspicious for others. Because why you should not feel envious? Because in this world, everybody suffers their own karma. So she's saying to Dhruva that you must have committed some sinful activities in your previous birth, therefore it is coming back to you. So this is a very, very wonderful example which Suniti is setting. It is a great responsibility of the superiors, the way they give advice to the juniors and subordinates. As Suniti could have also said, yes, I know your stepmother is like that only. She has no good quality. She's always telling these things. She could have said that. The first thing which she's saying to Dhruva is, Ma Amangalam Tata, please don't have any ill feelings for your mother. Whatever is happening, Bhunkte Janoyat Paradukhatastat. Everybody is suffering their own karma. If you inflict pain to others, you will also suffer. So therefore, one of the acharyas, they say that actually Lord Krishna, he directed Dhruva towards himself through his mother. So in the life of a devotee, Supreme Lord is very, very actively acting. Devotees sometimes after practice of bhakti for a long time, they think, I don't know, Krishna knows my problems. I am struggling so hard. So many times I have to struggle just to complete my rounds. Is Krishna aware? Actually, Krishna gives the intelligence. Krishna is there. He is working more hard to bring us close to him than we are working to go close to him. So he is working very gravely. So he sends his devotees. He comes himself. He sends the scriptures. In all these situations, in all these various ways, Krishna wants devotees, people to come close to him. So therefore, now Krishna, Lord Vishnu wants Dhruva to become pure devotee. So first of all, he is directing him through Suniti. And then further, he would direct him through Narada Muni. Now, Suniti speaks another wonderful instruction to Dhruva. She says, Satyam suruchya bhitam bhavan me yad durbhagaya udare grihita stanyena vriddascha vilajjate yam bharyeti vavodu idaspatirmam. So she says that, my dear boy, it is true. Satyam suruchya bhitam. Whatever Suruchi has spoken, it is true. What Suruchi had spoken? She had told Dhruva that you go and worship the Supreme Lord. So Suniti is saying, yes, my son, whatever your stepmother has said, that is true. Because you are born from my womb, you are born from a womb of a very unfortunate mother. And you have took the milk from the breast of a very, very unfortunate woman, and you have grown up drinking that milk. So therefore, whatever your co-wife, your stepmother has said, that is true. And of course, the king does not consider me his wife or even his maid servant. He feels even ashamed to accept me as his wife. So then she says, but oh Dhruva, don't be troubled. Don't have ill feelings. What you should do? Atishta tattat vimassarastvam uktam smarata piyadavyalikam aradhyadoksha japad padmam yadichhasedhyasanamutamo yatha. So she's saying, give up your envious attitude. Vimatsara. Whatever envious attitude you have in your heart, immediately give it up and try to execute the instructions of your stepmother. What Suruchi has said, just go to the forest and do tapasya and please the Supreme Lord. So Suniti is saying, yes, your mother has given a correct instruction to you. just go and get up. Atishta, she's saying, just get up now and go to the forest and you follow the instructions of your stepmother Suruchi. Whatever she has spoken, although it is very, very harsh to hear, but still it is factual. Yad avyalikam. Avyalikam means it is factual. Because everything in this world is happening by the will of the Lord. Only Lord can help you. I cannot do anything. So therefore, what you should do, my son? Aradhya adhokshaja pad padmam. Worship the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Adhokshaja. And therefore, by his worship, by his mercy, you can sit on the same throne as your stepbrother. So Prabhupada writes a very brilliant purport to this. He says that the harsh words which were used by Suruchi to her stepson, they were true. Because unless one is favored by the Supreme Lord, nobody can achieve anything in this world. So therefore, Dhruva, although wanted some material thing, but because he approached Supreme Lord, all his desires were fulfilled. So therefore, Krishna was indirectly bringing Dhruva to his lotus feet, because if somebody worships Krishna for a material benediction, ultimately Krishna purifies the devotee also. So then hearing these words, Dhruva may say, will I have to enter the womb of that sinful woman by worshipping Lord? So, this is the background conversation. Dhruva is thinking like this. You are telling me to worship Supreme Lord. So, but my mother had told that by worshipping Lord, you will enter my womb. So Dhruva is saying, will I enter the womb of that sinful woman? So he says, no, she is such a vile creature. Your father is her husband, is also foolish. You can attain a higher position greater than Brahma also. Therefore, don't worry. Do not lament. So this is a background conversation given by Chakravarti Thakur. Dhruva is thinking, she said you worship Vishnu and by that you will enter my womb. And you are also saying the same. I don't want to enter the womb of that sinful lady. Suniti is saying, yes, she is a vile creature. And your father is her husband. He is also foolish and vile. You don't have to worry about that. You will attain greater position than Brahma. Just go and worship the Supreme Lord. Because only by worshipping the Supreme Lord, even your Brahma has acquired qualification to create this universe. We discussed the whole thing in the second canto. How Brahmaji, he worshipped the Supreme Lord. He heard tapa, and he did tapasya for 100 celestial years. And then he got darshan of the Lord. So Suniti is saying, yes, by worshipping Supreme Lord, Brahmaji, your great grandfather, he also got power to create this universe. And your grandfather, Manu, he also achieved all material happiness by worshipping him only. So therefore, please take shelter of Supreme Lord. And then she speaks a very beautiful verse. Tameva vatsa shrayavritya vatsalam mumukshubhi mrigya pajabja paddhatim ananya bhave nijadharma bhavite manas avasthapya bhajasva purusham. So she says, my son, tameva vatsa ashraya bhritya vatsalaha. Take the ashraya of bhritya vatsal. Who is Bhritya Vatsal? Bhritya Vatsal means one who is very, very kind to his servant. Mumukshubhi, the lotus feet of Lord is desired by even great saints. Those who want liberation, they also worship the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu only. Mumukshubhi mrigya padabja paddhatim. Just like this mriga, the deer is searching after the fragrance. Similarly, the sages, they are searching after the lotus feet of the Lord. So what you should do, my son? Ananya bhave nijadharma bhavite. Situate the Lord in your heart by the practice of bhakti yoga. Mana avasthapya bhajasva purusham. And in this way, worship the Supreme Lord. So therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that, what is the meaning of this Bhritya Vatsala? Suniti is saying, actually, what can I give you? I have a heart of one mother. But if you go to Vishnu, Krishna has a heart of millions of mothers put together. So therefore, when you go to take shelter of Lord Krishna, all your desires will be fulfilled. And then another thing we say is that, if somebody, just like a small child like Dhruva, he also practices bhakti yoga, he'll get purified. As soon as one places the Supreme Lord in his heart, all his endeavors become immediately successful. Even if this whole story of Dhruva tells that even if somebody has material desires, if one worships the Supreme Lord, he'll definitely achieve all the perfection. So then she says that, oh my son, no one else is capable of destroying your distress. Only Supreme Lord Vishnu can do it. Everybody is hankering after Lakshmi. Lakshmi is hankering after Supreme Lord. She is engaging in the service of Supreme Lord. Jano dvayam jala jalochanaya jananya lakshmya kilasya suravanditaya vidhatu. So we discussed in the third canto. Kapila describes that Supreme Lord is detached, but Lakshmi Devi, she is engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord. So hearing all these instructions, now Dhruva, he leaves home. He had a desire to get a kingdom which is even greater than Brahmaji. So then Dhruva, he controlled his mind with his intelligence and he left home. So as he left home, Narad Muni, he was astonished because he heard the news. Somebody may ask, how did Narad come to know? Narad Muni was not there. How did Narad Muni come to know that Dhruva was as a small boy? Because Narad Muni, he was astonished that how wonderful are the Kshatriyas. Just see, small boy, Kshatriya, 5 years old boy. Even a small boy cannot tolerate a slight insult upon their prestige. Man Bhagna, because his man was Bhagna. That is the pride of a Kshatriya, even as a small child. Though Dhruva is just a small child, he has taken the harsh words of his mother very, very seriously. Who in this world will do that? Small children don't take anything seriously. But just imagine this 5 years old Dhruva. He took the insult done by his mother so seriously that what he is going to do is unimaginable. So how did Narad Muni know that what happened to Dhruva? What all things were spoken by Suruchi to Dhruva? Because he is Trikalagya. Just like Lord is there in everyone's heart, Lord is also revealing all the information which is needed for a devotee to be known. And Lord understood that Dhruva, he is determined and serious about entering devotional service. Immediately Lord sends his representative. So that's why we discussed just now some time back that Lord is working very gravely to help his devotees. Much more than we are working. Maharaurav haite korile tomara uddhar kripara samudra krishna gambhir apar. So Haridas Thakur is telling Sanatana Goswami that Supreme Lord has liberated you from the hellish situation because his whole body was covered with boils. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and embraced him and all his disease disappeared. So he says, Arey, Supreme Lord is Gambhir Apar. He is very gravely working to protect his devotees. So therefore, we should never have this idea that, oh, Lord is enjoying the spiritual world. Unko kya padi hai, unko malum hai kya, what I am going through. Actually, Supreme Lord is working more gravely. He is lamenting more, seeing the condition of the living entities in this world. We discussed, we saw the story. It is in third canto. Uddhava is saying that when Krishna, he saw Dushasana and Duryodhana lying on the ground, which is with his thigh broken, he was not feeling happy. Sakarna Dushasana Saubalam Kumantra Pakena Hatashri Suyodhanam Sanucharam Shayanam Bhagnoru Uruvyam Nananda Pashyan. When Krishna, he saw that Duryodhana, he was lying with his thigh broken. He was not feeling happy. So Supreme Lord is not happy when he sees the living entities struggling and in so much of pain, because ultimately all the living entities, they are the children of Krishna. So immediately, as soon as some devotee, some living entity tries to turn his face towards Krishna, Krishna becomes so very eager to bring that devotee as quickly as possible towards him. So now, Narad Muni, he reaches that place. As Dhruva left, he left home. He's going to the forest. Narad Muni comes and meets Dhruva. He says, "Oh Dhruva, oh child, don't be affected by honor and dishonor. Samman and Apaman, all these are, you're just a child. You should not be attached to all this honor and dishonor." And Chakravarti Thakur says that Narad Muni is saying, if you are so developed to understand honor and insult, you should also have known that honor and dishonor are both destined by the karma. So Narad Muni said, don't be so much troubled, you are a child. People in this world, they are doing so many endeavors, but they are not satisfied. Sometimes they get honor, sometimes insult, sometimes happiness, sometimes distress, fame, infamy. All these dualities will exist in this world. But the cause of dissatisfaction is only one. You know what is the cause of dissatisfaction of Dhruva? That is one's own karma. So therefore, he says that intelligent people is satisfied with whatever comes in his life. He's not so much disturbed. He's not so much in pain when things are not happening according to his will. So actually, Chakravarti Thakur writes that Narad Muni came to actually initiate Dhruva under the direction of the Lord, because Lord personally directed Narad Muni to go and initiate Dhruva. But now, as a teacher, as a guru, he is testing the determination of Dhruva. That is the purpose of the spiritual master. One of the duties of the spiritual master is test the determination of the disciple. So therefore, when the tests come in our life, we should know that Supreme Lord is trying to make us more strong. Otherwise, if tests will not come in life of a devotee, will not be very, very eager to practice bhakti. All of us have this experience. When problem comes in our life, we become more and more eager to render intense devotional service. Otherwise, our bhakti is not so much strong. So therefore, Krishna, although he had sent Narad Muni is testing the determination of Dhruva. He says, "Oh my child, oh Dhruva, what you want, it is very difficult to obtain. It is very, very difficult to satisfy the Lord." He is completely discouraging Dhruva, small child, Just imagine if some spiritual teacher, some of our seniors, they come, see, aapse nahi hoga, you don't even try doing it. So then there is some, feeling comes, if he is saying nahi hoga, karke rahenge, So there was one time, one devotee was telling that one of the very senior devotees, one sannyasi, he was cultivating a person for a long time, and this person had a difficulty just giving up onion and garlic. He was a well-wisher. He met him after 10 years. And then he asked, "So how are you doing? Are you chanting?" So he said, "No, I am chanting a little bit. Still, I have not given up onion and garlic." So this person said, "You will never be able to give it up. Forget it." And from that day onwards, he gave up. So Narad Muni is discouraging Dhruva. He's just testing the determination of Dhruva. He's saying it is very, very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Lord. It is Duraradhya. It is very, very difficult to please the Supreme Lord. You are desiring the mercy of the Supreme Lord by the process taught by your mother, but it is very, very difficult. Prabhupada writes an interesting statement. He says, the process of Bhakti Yoga is simultaneously very difficult and very easy to perform. So how is it possible? Why it is very difficult? Why it is very easy? Prabhupada clarifies. He says that it is a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy. Whoever is sincerely practicing bhakti, he is very intense. For him, it is very easy. But for one who is not determined, one who is not sincere, this process is very, very difficult. So this process, if you want to practice bhakti seriously and sincerely, you have to be really determined. Prabhupada writes in one of the purport in the first canto, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can be successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. And without doing so, nobody is able to go back to Godhead. So therefore, you have to have the qualities of discipline, obedience, and control, self-control. As Dhruva says, as Narad Muni is saying, Tasya me anuraktasya prashritasya hatainasha shraddhadanasya balasya dantasya anucharasya cha. He's saying, I had few qualities. He's telling to Vyasadeva, what were my qualities? He's saying, I was completely attached to devotees. I was fully obedient. Prashritasya hatainasha, I was sinless. I was faithful. I was sense controlled, and I was a genuine follower. So then Narad Muni is further saying, he says, Arey, many mystic yogis have failed. You are a child. Many mystic yogis, they have tried for many, many births. They have not attained success by this mystic yoga. So don't try to do this. It is not for you. Give up your endeavor. It will not be successful. You are a child. When you grow up, बड़े हो जाओगे ना, तो कर लेना. You are अभी तो बच्चे हैं आप. You are a small child. Don't attempt this. Prabhupada writes, generally children are attached to playing. When person grows young, they are attached to opposite gender. People grow old, they are always thinking. But the conclusion is that, Prabhupada writes, for a devotee, this conclusion for attachment to various things, it is not for a devotee. Devotee is always focused on devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So therefore, this Narad Muni is instructing Dhruva in such a way just to test him. But actually, he has come to give devotional service to the Supreme Lord unto Dhruva. So then he says that one who endures any condition of life offered by Supreme Will, he can cross the ocean of Nishayas. So how this happens? By experiencing happiness, one's pious acts are exhausted. By experiencing sinful suffering, one's sinful acts are exhausted. By being satisfied in both these situations, one can cross this ocean of material world. And then he gives a very wonderful instruction to Dhruva. Gunadikam mudam lipse anukroshat gunadhamad maitrim samanam anvicha nata paira vibhuyate. So he says, oh my child, if you want to be undisturbed in this world which is full of miseries, three things you have to do. In this world, you will meet three types of people. Somebody superior to you, equal to you, and junior to you, inferior to you. When you see people who are superior to you, guna adhikam means if you see somebody having more qualities than you, don't become envious of them, become happy. Generally, it happens the other way. People become envious. Anukroshat gunadhamat. When you see somebody inferior to you, don't make fun of them. Just be friend. Just show your compassion to them. And when you see somebody, maitrim samanam anvicha. When you see somebody equal to you, don't compete with them. Make friends with them. In this way, you will not be disturbed by these miseries. After hearing all this instruction, now Dhruva speaks. He says, Narad Muni, thank you for your advice, but I cannot accept your advice. Whatever you have explained me, it is very, very good. It is very wonderful instruction. But my mind is very disturbed. I am not a submissive person. I am a Kshatriya. my mind is completely disturbed. My heart is pierced by the words of my mother Suruchi. Therefore, I cannot hear your instructions. Prabhupada writes that it is not the fact that, however, those who have material desires are prohibited from worshipping Supreme Lord. Because Dhruva is going to Supreme Lord for some material benefit. So Prabhupada writes the essential instruction of this whole pastime of Dhruva is anybody with any desire should go to Krishna. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Even if you have no desires or your heart is full of desires, just go to Krishna. So Prabhupada writes that it is said that Dhruva is saying, my heart is pierced by the sharp words of Suruchi. Prabhupada writes that it is said that heart or mind, it is just like an earthen pot. Once broken, it cannot be repaired by any means. So, the statements of Dhruva Maharaj indicate that unless a child is trained according to his tendency, there is no possibility of his developing his particular spirit. So Dhruva was a Kshatriya, and the instructions which Narad was giving were Brahminical instructions. So Dhruva is saying, see, these are all good instructions for those who are cowardly Brahmanas. So that is what Chakravarti Thakur writes. I am a Kshatriya. These instructions that do not enter my heart. So Prabhupada was very, very expert in engaging devotees according to their inclination. If somebody was good at painting, he told them, okay, you paint. Somebody was good in business, he would tell them, do business for Krishna. When Swarup Damodar Maharaj, he came, Prabhupada told that you are a scientist, you preach to the scientific community. So Prabhupada was expert in engaging people according to their inclinations. Prabhupada would tell all these American people, what is the use of you being American if you cannot do something big for Krishna? So then Dhruva, he says, I desire a kingdom greater than my great-grandfather. Padam tribun krishtam jigisho sadhu vartmame bruhyasmat pitribhir brahman anyer apyanadishchitam. He says, Padam tribhuvan utkrishtam. I want a kingdom greater than these three worlds. Jigisho. Jigisho means I want it, but sadhu vartmame. I want by an honest way. I want this kingdom, but I want honestly. I want a kingdom which is not obtained by any of my forefathers. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that a devotee, he wants to have material benefits, but he wants to acquire those benefits in an honest way. This indicates that, Prabhupada writes that if Krishna offered him such a position in an honest way, then he would accept it. That is the nature of devotee. So then, Dhruva is telling to Narad Muni, if you can fulfill my desire, please help me. You are like the sun. You are like the sun which shows mercy to everyone indiscriminately. Please show mercy to me also. So Narad Muni, when he heard the determination of Dhruva, he became pleased. And then he said, Oh Dhruva, the instruction given by your mother to follow the Supreme Lord's devotional service, that is a perfect path suitable for you. I also recommend that path. You go and you perform devotional service. The Lord can give all the results of dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Prabhupada writes, actually the demigods, they cannot give any benediction without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. All the benedictions which are given by the devatas, they are actually given by the mercy of Krishna only. So therefore, Narad Muni now tells Dhruva, oh Dhruva, you go to Madhuvan, Tattat gaccha bhadram te yamunaya tatam shuchi punyam madhuvanam nyatra sannidhyam nityadahare. So he says, oh Dhruva, go to Madhuvan, you go to Yamuna Tat, there is a forest of Madhuvan. There Supreme Lord resides eternally. Please go there. And Prabhupada talks about the place of pilgrimage. So he says that there is a very special advantage when devotional service is performed at the place of pilgrimage, because Supreme Lord resides at the places of pilgrimage eternally. What is the place of pilgrimage? The place of pilgrimage is that place which is inhabited by the devotees of the Lord, who are constantly singing the glories of the Lord. As Krishna says, Naham tisthami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tisthami narada. So it is told by Lord Krishna himself, Narad Muni, I do not reside in Vaikuntha. I do not reside in the hearts of the yogis. I reside wherever my devotees, they chant my names. So then Narad Muni tells, O Dhruva, you practice this Ashtanga yoga, take bath 3 times a day and take in this auspicious Yamuna, and then sit and do pranayam. And in this way, you focus on the Supreme Lord. And then beautiful description of Supreme Lord's form is given by Narad Muni to Dhruva. Prasanna bhimukham sashvat prasanna vadanekshanam sunasam subhravam charu kapolam surasundaram. Says that Supreme Lord has a very beautiful face. He has a beautiful nose and the eyebrows, and he has a very beautiful face, forehead. Tarunam ramaniyangam arunoshtekshanaadaram pranata shranam nimnam sharanyam karunarnavam. He says, Tarunam ramaniyangam. Supreme Lord is youthful. All his bodily limbs are very, very attractive. His lips and eyes, they are like the reddish rising sun. And then he gives shelter to his surrendered devotees. And then beautiful description of the whole body of Krishna, Supreme Lord, is described. And one of the verses he says is, Kanchi kala paryastam lasat kanchana nupuram darshanyatamam shantam mano nayanavardhanam. So Supreme Lord's waist is surrounded by a girdle of small bells, he wears shining anklets. It is Darshaniyatamam. Darshaniyatamam means Supreme Lord is worth taking darshan of. And when somebody takes darshan of the Supreme Lord, his whole mind completely becomes absorbed in his form. So therefore, O Dhruva, please go and worship the Supreme Lord. What is the result of this meditation? He says, Evam Bhagavato Rupam Subhadram Dhyayato Manah Nivritya Paraya Turdam Sapannam Na Nivartate. He says, O Dhruva, if you meditate in this way, what will be the result? Evam Bhagavato Rupam Dhyayato. If you meditate on this form, what will be the result? One will be free from all the material contamination of the heart. Secondly, you will get highest bliss, spiritual bliss, and you will never be deviated from that. And then Narad Muni gives the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he says, Oh Dhruva, you chant this mantra. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that, this mantra is a very, very confidential mantra. Why Vyasadeva wrote this mantra in Bhagavatam? So the explanation is given that, one may receive a mantra which is published in the paper. Unless one receives a mantra in a proper parampara, it does not have effect. And somebody may ask, but how could Dhruva, who was not a Brahmana, receive this mantra? So answer is, he did it on the authority of Narada Muni. Narada Muni gave this mantra, so therefore, although he was a Kshatriya, still he could chant this mantra. And then Narada Muni explained the whole detailed procedure of how to worship Supreme Lord. Control your mind and speech, be peaceful, be satisfied with whatever is available, and you chant this mantra and then offer mentally. Mentally you offer all the ingredients to the Supreme Lord. Be very, very fixed in the meditation of the Supreme Lord. And whoever engages in the worship of the Lord in this way, immediately he will experience all the symptoms of ecstasy. And then he achieves the supreme liberation. One becomes aloof from all the sense gratification and he attains that level of bhava. So therefore, O Dhruva, you practice this. So then, Narad Muni also told Dhruva, you make a deity of the Lord of mud. Because he may not be able to get the carved stone deity. He said, whatever, you take the mud from the river, you make a form of the Lord and worship it with the water. So then Dhruva reaches Madhuvan, and as Dhruva was on his way to Madhuvan, Narad Muni reaches and meets Uttanpad. Uttanpad was very, very morose because he was realizing what he had done. He was condemning himself. He was saying, just see how I am such a henpecked husband. My son came and he wanted to sit on my lap, but I was so attached to my wife, I could not take care of my son. And then he said, I was conquered by my wife. I am so very cruel. Just see my cruelty. I did not welcome my son when he came. Narad Muni tells that, O king, please do not be worried. Mama shucha swatanayam devaguptam vishampate tat prabhavam avigyaya pravringte yadyasho jagat. He says, O king, O Uttanpad, Mama shucha, please do not be aggrieved about your son. Devaguptam vishampate, he'll be protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Don't be worried. Although you have no information about him, but you don't know the influence of your son. He says, actually, the reputation of your son is already spread all over the world. And then he says very wonderful thing. Sudushkaram karam kritva lokapalay ravi prabho aishyati acharato rajan yasho vipulavam stava. He says, O king, whatever your son has done, it is sudushkara. It is a very, very difficult task to perform. What is a difficult thing? Even the Lokpal, even the directors of the 4 directions, they are not able to do that. What was that? He has satisfied the Supreme Lord. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, this is the most difficult task in the life of a devotee, to please the Supreme Lord. So it is not so easy. So unless we are really strong and determined to practice this devotional service, to please the Lord is the most difficult task in the entire creation. So we have to be really very, very serious and attentive in our chanting, our hearing. Then only we'll advance in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we'll get some benefit, but the supreme goal will not be easily attained. When we hear the statements, oh, we'll eat our way back to Godhead, Prabhupada said, just catch my dhoti, I'll take you from the back door. That is there for encouragement. Don't take these words literally. We have to put our full effort. We have to be inspired and encouraged when we are discouraged. Of course, we have to take shelter of these words, but we should not make these words as our mission statement. Sudushkara karma, to please the Lord, is the most difficult task in the entire creation. Lokapalay rapi, for even the directors of the universe. O king, don't worry, your son will come very soon. Aishyate achirato, your son will come very soon and he'll spread your reputation all over the universe. And then he describes the austerities of, Maitreya Muni is describing the austerities of Dhruva. So Dhruva, he reached this Madhuvan, he started doing tapasya, and in the first month of his tapasya, he was just eating kapitta fruits. Kapitta fruits are the fruits which are not eaten by men, they are eaten by monkeys. Some kapitta fruits and the berries, he was eating once in 3 days. First month. Second month, he thought enough of sense gratification. He stopped eating kapitta fruits. He was just eating some dry grass and leaves once in 6 days. Third month, he thought that is also too much. He stopped eating grass. He was just drinking water once in 9 days. Fourth month, he thought that is also too much. He stopped drinking water. He was just breathing once in 12 days. Not every day, not every second. He was just breathing once in 12 days. Fifth month came. Dhruva, he thought that is also too much. He stopped breathing. He controlled his breath, mind, and stood motionless on one foot like a pillar. And he meditated on the Supreme Lord without any diversion. So then, Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport. He says, when we hear all these austerities, we cannot even imagine. We, as a member of Krishna consciousness, ISKCON society, what is our tapasya? Our tapasya is to chant the 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, and try to take to this process seriously, try to preach this process. We cannot do all these, but by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this process have been made easy. But if we do not follow even such liberal instructions of Lord Chaitanya, how can we expect to discharge our regular duties in devotional service? That's what Prabhupada writes. So therefore, by mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have got this very, very simple process of chanting 16 rounds and following 4 regulative principles. If we are not taking these simple things seriously, then we should not expect for the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show mercy. Mahaprabhu is Patit Pavan, not Kapat Pavan. He sees this person is really endeavoring to his best. Then only he will give his mercy. Otherwise, it is not so easy to get mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanyaya, but we should not be just depending on, I am to causeless mercy wala candidate. Causeless mercy milega tabhi jaunga. No, we have to strive to the best of our capacity. So as Dhruva, he was doing such intense tapasya, the whole 3 worlds started trembling. Because Supreme Lord, he had captured, Dhruva captured the Supreme Lord in his heart. And because Supreme Lord is the master of the 3 worlds, the whole world all the 3 worlds began to tremble. It is said that Dhruva actually pushed the earth down by his weight. He pushed half of the earth down. And because he stopped breathing, practically all the universe was suffocating. So Chakravarti Thakur explains, how is this possible? How could Dhruva become so heavy and push down the earth? And how could stopping the breathing of Dhruva suffocate the entire inhabitants of the universe? He says that although he gives the example, Prabhupada gives the example that just like in the airplane, there are many people, hundreds of people, they are sitting. Everybody, they share a total force on the airplane. Similarly, Dhruva, because of his concentration on the Lord, became almost the total heaviness and could push down the earth. Moreover, by such spiritual power, his body became the total body of the universe. And because he closed all the holes of his body, this whole universe, he felt suffocated. All the demigods, they became disturbed. What is happening? So who is doing it? They thought maybe some demon is doing some tapasya. They all went to the Supreme Lord. They said, "Oh my Lord, oh our Lord, we are experiencing such suffocation. You are the refuge of all the living entities. Please protect us." So now, Sri Bhagavan, Lord Vishnu is saying, Ma bhaishta balam tapaso duratyayan nivartaishye pratiyat swadhama yato hi vaprana nirodha asit auttana padir mai sangatatma. He says, Ma bhaishta, do not be disturbed. Do not be disturbed by seeing the austerities of Uttanapadi. Uttanapadi means Dhruva. Nivartaishye, just go back to your places. Don't worry. He is my devotee. He is doing tapasya for me, I know. He has stopped his breathing. That's why you all are feeling suffocation. Don't worry. Just go back. I'll take care of these things. I shall stop this boy in his severe austerities. You'll be safe from this situation. Don't worry about that. And here this 8th chapter ends. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.